All right, everyone, let's discuss the latest goings on at Celtic then. And yesterday was, I was going to say it was a big day. I'm not sure how big a day it was, but the club did release a new Adidas Originals collection just in time for St. Patrick's Day. And by law, everyone, that means we have to get Stevie on for a moan. Great time, Stevie.
I'm not going to moan because I'm well aware that you can't just blame the club for this. It's Adidas that set it all, isn't it? And I've been educated in that. I think last year when we had a moan about something, and a few people were in the comments saying Celtic just go along with it, and Adidas set the prices and whatever. And I believe that, but I think the latest attempt that they've released is pretty poor. It's pretty bland. It just looks like a t-shirt, and it's one of the ones, Hamish, that in 6 months you'll be getting that for like £20, £25, and anybody's paying £90 for that. I think is got some. I don't want to diagnose people. I'm not a doctor, but I think.
Oh, Jesus, Stevie. Oh, dear.
Is that bad? Is that a cancellation? Is it? Look, each their own, right? I mean, I've paid through the nose for some Celtic stuff, as we know, but I think £90 for something that is just resembling a t-shirt, I think that's a wee bit much. There's better things to do with your money.
There's also a bomber jacket, some pants as well that have been released. By pants they mean trousers. Don't not trousers. God, grandad. They mean what do they mean? Trackies, or maybe they mean pants. I don't know, Stevie. But they've released three different things. Some people probably wondering, is this a jersey that is £90? Are we ever going to see it worn by the team? No, you're not, because that's the custom these days. I think this is the third year in a row that Celtic have released a fourth kit for St. Patrick's Day. It's the third year in a row Stevie has been moaning about, oh no, sorry, it's about the 20th year in a row you've been moaning about something, Stevie. Are you happy just to admit that you're just getting worked into a shoot by Adidas at this stage?
No, I think it's more than that. I think it's a me thing. I think I'm just getting older, uh, frankly, and that's it. I think these football tops and Adidas are marketing it now to the younger crowd, the 18 to 30-year-olds, and that is it, really. I'm just getting older, getting crankier, and I'm now at the point where it's a shame buttons shut down into it, because I could see myself getting stuff with buttons and all that, like in my later years and all that. That seems like right up my street. But so I'm going to have to probably start going to Marks and Spencers for stuff and all that now, aren't I? And laying off this Celtic stuff. But as I say, I think it is a demographic thing. It's not really catered to me anymore. But when it comes to that new when the summer's out, and that new Bumblebee top that has been rumoured to be released is like next a week it, then I'm sure that all my moans will be turning into positive cheers and everything again. So it's no all doom and gloom when it comes to Adidas and Celtic, Hamish. But right now, this thing that they do every March it's a bit needless, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I mean, there's always the argument that they're not forcing anyone to pay it, which is,
True.
true and fair enough. But yeah, for me, just a fourth kit's just a little bit much. But I'm sure it'll be pretty popular. Certainly, the previous ones. What did we last year was kind of was it like the green and orange one? The year before was the one. Wait a minute, you've got the one for 2 years ago.
I like that one, but I got it as a birthday present, remember? I got it as a birthday
Ah,
present.
right.
And to be fair, it is a nice one. I do like that. It's a shame that I didn't wear that season, because it is actually a smart top, and I didn't pay for
Yeah.
it, so don't worry about that.
Right. Okay. What are your three favourite Adidas Celtic kits then?
See, remember that one I gave away when we did the trophy day? I love that one, the away kit, the Kyogo Cup final one.
Yeah, I love that one. I've got that through there. I think that's a belter, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I gave that to that guy so I could wear the 67 Hail Hail t-shirt at the time, and I gave it to that guy after it. I think that one, I do like I guess we're going to have to say see the hoops one, the one where the 120 years of hoops.
Hmm.
The one that we haven't wore, but we should have wore at a cup final. That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful as well. And I bet this is an unpopular shout because it's a COVID season top, but I love the black one, the black third kit with a big shamrock on it, where it's got the lines down there. We sometimes wore it twice under Ange at Easter Road as well the season later. I thought that's goes down as a real underrated classic. Flies right under the radar. It's a belter. So I think they're my three. But if you ask me tomorrow, I'll probably change my mind. But they're my three for tonight. What about you?
Yeah, there's been some that have hit and some that have missed. The home ones, I think this year's home one's probably my favourite of all the Adidas hoops we've done so far, other than the kind of anniversary one you're talking about, which I'm not including because the team haven't ever worn it. The COVID season's obviously just tainted. I can't like any kit from that COVID season, despite the kit's been half decent. This season's home kit would be one. That green Kyogo Cup final one against Hibs that you mentioned would be one. I love a yellow Celtic kit. I know they're not everyone's taste, but I quite like this season's yellow one that we've worn, I think, at Hibs and St Mirren earlier on in the season. I don't know why we weren't wearing it at St Mirren on Saturday, given that we wore it early on in the season at St Mirren. So that was interesting. But always nice to see Celtic wearing the hoops. But yeah, everyone, let us know what you made of that kit launch, and I don't know, maybe even the pants. Is anyone buying the pants? I'd love to know how many people buy like the bomber jacket. I guess the bomber jacket would be quite popular, but like the pants, I need to stop saying pants. There was a bit of an Irish theme to things yesterday, Stevie. The club had Ireland internationals and Cork natives Adam Ida and Saoirse Noonan modelling the new gear. The club also confirmed the pre-season trip to Ireland for, wait for it, the Cork Super Cup. That sounds very interesting. Oh, it's just a friendly against Cork City at Park E. Kiev. But it is estimated that the economic return from the fixture could be in the region of €6 million, which I must admit I find a little bit surprising just for a Celtic friendly. July the 8th, it'll kick off at 6 p.m. So that's all well and good. Looking forward to that game.
Listen, it'll be no Wembley Cup anyway. That's the one that always remains right here for me, Hamish. But
were you down at Wembley for that?
I wasn't actually. I remember I was abroad at the time watching it in Turkey. It was, but it turned out to be the highlight of the season, didn't it? But we'll always have that one, Hamish. No matter how bad that season was, that Wembley Cup, what a triumph it was! Beautiful.
Yeah, and I was down at the Wembley Cup because we played Wembley Cup that season. That was the one and only ever Wembley Cup they did. It was us, Spurs, Barcelona, and name the final club.
Al Ali.
Yes, I think they were the champions of Africa.
More specifically, Egypt, I believe.
Yeah, I know, but I think they were the African continental champions. I could be wrong. And we beat them 5-0 and then we beat Spurs 2-0 with a makeshift team. But just always remember the Celtic fans, the legends, including myself, who stayed for the Spurs-Barca game after our game on the opening day, just to see Lionel... Oh no, sorry, it wasn't that. It was just to give Alan Hutton dog's abuse for 90 minutes. That was a great laugh. And then we had the Emirates Cup the following year, and we nearly won that as well. Who was in that, Stevie? Who was the other three teams?
Us, Arsenal, Lyon. I can't remember the last team.
It was AC Milan, but we never played AC Milan. But that was fun. What other pre-season tournaments have we been involved in? We've had like the Champions Cup, but that's not the same, is it?
No.
The Dublin Super Cup, who was in that, Stevie?
Dublin Super Cup, was that us, Liverpool and Norwich or something?
No, we did play Liverpool in I think that was a Dublin decider. Stevie played Liverpool at the Aviva, but there was also a Dublin Super Cup with us, Inter Milan, Man City, and a League of Ireland All-Stars 11. And I believe did we lose to Inter, I think Thiago Motta might get sent off in that, and then I think we battered the the All-Stars.
You could be making all this up to me because I have no recollection of this. So fair play if you are, and this is one big early April Fools, I must say.
I think if I ever went to Mastermind, that would probably be my chosen subject, Celtic pre-season tournaments. You don't really get them anymore, but maybe we're bringing it back with the Cork Super Cup, although it's not much of a cup, it's just a one-off match. Anyway, Adam Ida spoke to the media yesterday, I think in Ireland, and just spoke generally about things and Celtic's position that we're in and the prospect of the team potentially making 100 points this season in the league. He says breaking the 100 points barrier is not even being talked about. Of course you want to finish with the most points possible, but it's something that's not really that important. The main goal obviously is to win trophies. Hopefully from now on we can win each and every game. That'll be the main goal for us. The manager's message is to do what we've been doing all season, work hard, stay focused, take each game as it comes and hopefully finish the season on a high. So I think we're 76 points at the moment, or 75 points.
75.
We need to win 8 and draw one of our final 9 games to hit 100 points. It's not massively important to me, I must say, but I guess with the league being a bit of a formality, that is one that people might look at.
I think the biggest thing is just winning the league, but it is always good, isn't it, to surge over the line, to sprint over it, and it's not just like, I'll never forget the Gordon Strachan years where it was over it with a whimper and we barely just go over it, you know what I mean? So it's always good to do it in style. And I was actually looking, I mean, we're well on course to score over 100 goals. I mean, we're in 87 goals now. I think what was it? I think I think under Ange's second season we got 106 goals, I think it might have been. I think I was looking at this the other day, but I think we can definitely blitz 100 goals, I would say, in the next sort of 5 games, really. I think you're looking at the ones, I'm not even going to say any Rangers predictions here after my track record last time. I'm just leaving them out, you know. But
are you honestly going to be warned off a major prediction against Rangers
I've
this time?
literally just said that I'm banned for ever making a prediction again. I was talking about games beyond that, but I think we'll definitely blitz it and get over 100 goals. But it's just about...
So you're scared of a Barry Ferguson Rangers team?
After that, I'm in no position to make any comments or say anything about the state of Rangers after their performance at Ibrox and how bullish I was the last time. So I'm not scared. But let's just say I jinxed it big time back in January when we did that preview, and I am not doing it again. I think I think you've just got to over 13,000 now, and it will just go like that the next time. I would be the curse of the channel, so I don't want to be responsible for it. But it's about doing it in style. I mean, that Ange second season was, generally we cantered it, but then that remember post split, it was a wee bit disappointing after that, and there was a wee bit of criticism before we played in that final, obviously against Inverness. So I think Brendan Rodgers will want to avoid any of that, and he'll just want to make it keep it as professional as possible, even after the league has won. And I think we'll win it. They're talking about in the next 3-4 games, aren't they? I think we will. I don't think we'll drop any points, hopefully, and I've got real faith and belief in the Celtic side, and I think the last couple of games have showed that we're moving in the right direction. And that anytime we're going forward, we look as if we're scoring with ease, and while it's not perfect at the back, I just think the attacking talent that this Celtic side possessing now is too much for teams in this league, as you would expect. But they are really ramping it up, and the fact that we're now going to just 1 game a week and we're skipping those matches in midweek now, I think you're going to see a fitter Celtic side, a way more focused Celtic side, and certain players will be enjoying the rest and ready to go for the weekend, starting with Sunday against Hibs.
Yeah, I think I'm right in saying the players have been given a couple of days off, actually, after the weekend. I'm not sure if it's Sunday, Monday, or Monday, Tuesday, or whatever. But they'll be back in and looking ahead to Hibs. And I think you're right, as I've covered quite a lot in the channel, and I said yesterday, we've got a lot of evidence of when Celtic go to 1 game a week, it just seems to really take the team on to a new level, and I think we're going to see that between the now and the end of the season, because there's really not that many games left, real games of note, in terms of winning the league, winning the Scottish Cup. Probably something like 6 matches left potentially if we go all the way in the Scottish Cup. We're going to have a fair few games after the split that are effectively going to be dead rubbers, but I think they're going to be an opportunity as well to see some fringe players, like Jude Bonner, who we saw last week, guys like that. Johnny Kenny potentially. I just think you really want between now and the end of the season to see the emergence of a number of players, and you want to see more of Yang. What can Yang be for us next season? Arnie Engels is clearly established as a Celtic first team player now, but I think it's going to be a massive season for him next year. Jota, how many goals can Dyson Maeda hit? So there's enough going on, but I'm just looking at Sunday at the moment, and it's an exciting one, isn't it? It's got all the makings. Reminds me a fair bit of when we played Aberdeen earlier this season at Celtic Park, and they were coming into the game so confident on such a winning run, and probably believing they could get a result, and they did get a result that day at Celtic Park. And it feels similar to me. I guess the difference is this is in the Scottish Cup, and Hibs are going to have a good more fans there. So one of our commenters said yesterday that a Hibs SLO had been saying that they've sold 5,000 tickets already for Sunday. I'm not sure if that's the case. I tried to verify it, couldn't find anything, but it's going to be a hell of an atmosphere and a hell of a challenge for the team, I think, on Sunday. But I also feel there's plenty of examples of us going up against like teams like this, really hyped teams, so like Hibs at the moment, or Aberdeen earlier in the season. I remember Hearts when we played them at Murrayfield that time, and they were in a real long run, and quite often virtually always Rangers as well. You can add Brendan Rodgers bursts these teams' bubbles, and I think the team are going to be right up for Sunday, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, a more recent example would be the Hearts game last season. I think it was when was it? The early May. Remember, Hearts were in a great run. They were unbeaten against us. They beat us the last two games, actually. And I think they were generally unbeaten. And they cantered third in the league. But their fans were getting into the game at Celtic Park thinking that there was going to be a real upset. Shanklin was scoring for fun. Kingsley was in very good form. And in general, Hearts were back then last season a very, very dangerous side. Celtic just came out and absolutely blitzed them. They're the type of games that Brendan Rodgers and this side seem to love and seem to really revel in the atmosphere of, like, really, as you say, busting teams' bubble. And we've not seen a lot of shocks with these sides coming to Celtic Park, other than maybe the Hearts game last, it was a couple of Decembers ago, that 2-0 game, remember? But that's the most recent example I can think of, because that Hearts team were, like, I think a lot of their fans were in really confident mood getting into that, from what I remember, and we just completely shut them down in the first half, and it was a really convincing win. I think you're right about this game against Hibs. This has got all the ingredients to be a real cup classic. And remember last season we had a quarter-final game against Livingston, and it was a hard-fought game. It was Dyson Maeda. It was the hero for that one, scored a hat-trick. So I think it's going to be a far tougher standard, the opposition. Hibs are without a doubt the other form type team in the country. It's two of the country's best teams playing each other.
Mate, it is. For me, it's the two best teams comfortably in the country at the moment.
Comfortably is the right word, because Rangers are nowhere near in the mix. Like Aberdeen have fell right off. Hearts are nowhere than what they used to be, and Dundee United have fell off too. Celtic and Hibs are by far the best sides in Scotland at the moment. And what's good about it is it's not going to be like a cautious game, or you're going to see a cup game where both sides are sitting. It's going to be hyped, right? But both teams are going to have a go. I fully expect Hibs. They're not going to be cautious. And to be fair, I don't think Hibs are good enough to be cautious under David Gray. I don't think they've got the players to. I think where Hibs' strength lies in just like getting the ball out wide to like Cadden. And really, I think with Miller, isn't it, for them just to whip in crosses, like that's what we saw.
He's got some great crossing, Cadden.
He's a very good. He's a really good player, Hamish. I was impressed with him when I saw him yesterday against Hearts. He was excellent. But that's what I noticed with Hibs. They're flying down the wings. They get the ball in as quickly as possible, out wide. When we go back to the game against Hibs at Celtic Park, that's where the run started, because they caused us some serious problems that day. Again, their defending was poor, and we scored 3 against them, but they could have easily scored 2 or 3 as well. And they missed some real sitters. So, and then you look at their form after it, they've been great. So I reckon they'll just see it as a free hit as such, because it's a cup game. They've got nothing to lose. They might as well go for it, and they're going to be backed by a lot of fans there. And our fans will be up for it as well, and I think our players will be up for it. And I think, I mean, I don't want to say revenge is going to be the primary factor. I think the real motivator is getting into the next round of the cup and getting this treble. But I also think Brendan and the side will have what happened a couple of weeks ago at Easter Road fresh in the memory too, and I think there'll be an extra edge to the game. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be an absolute belter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm compared it to the Aberdeen game earlier in the season because it's at Celtic Park, but it might be more like the Aberdeen Cup semi we had a few weeks later when we just had a disappointing result against Aberdeen. We've just had a disappointing result against Hibs here. So maybe the following on game we might see something similar. Celtic, I think you're right, like in terms of busting teams' bubbles, and I think Brendan Rodgers is very good at that team talk, and I'm assuming the team talk is along the lines of, or the motivation is along the lines of, everyone's hyping up this team, you're still the best team, go and prove it. And I think that really motivates the players for whatever reason. As I say, loads of examples of it happening recently, including in derbies against Rangers. The amount of times we've gone into derbies and it's been Rangers who have been the hyped ones by the media. Meanwhile, Celtic are kind of taken for granted, I think. And then we just go out and get the result. So I can't wait for Sunday. I think Hibs are a good side. They've got a lot of good players attacking wise. I think you're right. They're going to come and have a go. They've got real pace in behind. I just always think Martin Boyle's a really good player and one you have to watch. So looking forward to that, everyone. We've still got a way to go before kick-off, but we'll have plenty of previewing to do between now and then. Just a final bit of news before we go, Stevie. Scott Burns at the Daily Record saying we're continuing to keep close tabs on Lennon Miller ahead of this summer. Just some information. We made contact with Motherwell in January at the end of the window. We're told that he wasn't for sale. You might remember there was wee chat at that stage. They just... Stuart Kettlewell had just resigned from Motherwell at that stage, so didn't want to sell one of their top players as well. It was also a bit late in the window for them to find a replacement. However, our interest is very much alive. Our scouting team are doing regular reports for Brendan Rodgers. We rate him highly, and we are aware there's a number of other big teams after him, including Eintracht Frankfurt. Motherwell have turned down bids from Udinese, Union Saint-Gilloise, the Belgian side as well, and they made it clear they're in no rush to sell Miller. But he is out of contract at the end of next season, so it's likely to be this summer that he goes. They're looking for a record transfer fee. The record fee is $3.25 million we paid for David Turnbull back in COVID times. So, more than $3.25 million probably for Lennon Miller. Is that one you'd like to see Celtic look at in the summer?
Very much so. I've been raving about him for a while. I think he's good, but he can obviously play all three positions in midfield. Decent in defence. He can play as a 10, but he's really, really good. Just in playing as a 6 or an 8, I think, Hamish. He's a player that I think any time I've seen is against us. He's technically he's a very good player. Said it last season as well, and remember he was a real standout in the 3-1 win when he did score twice. Real standout in that game. Brilliant in the first half. And I also feel that he can. He's got a real tenacity to his game as well. I think he's a player that at the age of 18 already, he's got a lot going for him. He can still improve, but I think if he was to play, if he was to sign for us, he'd be a player though, Hamish, that two options he's thrown into the team and he's given maximum exposure to the first team, and it's not one of the ones where he's like on the bench wobbing it all the time. Like he would have to be given. He would have to be starting for us regularly, or certainly be coming off the bench at least. That, or you send him on loan, you know what I mean, for one of the ones where it's like an 18-monther or something, and then you get the best out of him after he's matured more, playing maybe if you send him back on loan to Motherwell, for example, or somebody else in the league or whatever. But I think he's a brilliant player. I really do. I think he's cracking. And I've always actually thought he was going to go down the Lewis Ferguson route. I thought he was going to always go, highly touted. Like the way Lewis Ferguson was touted to go to Rangers, but he in his head thought, I'm going to go abroad. And look at how his careers went. He's been unbelievable. And I always thought Lennon Miller was going to go down that route as well, and he still might. But yeah, I'd like to think that if our interest is serious, that there's a genuine interest from him there, because I think he could potentially be the player to replace like Callum McGregor as a natural successor to him as well, long term. Because I think the boy is absolutely brilliant, and it's really a key interest, a key trait. Sorry, is that he plays with no fear at all. Like you see him, no matter what the level is, he never looks overawed. He just looks very, very comfortable playing for Motherwell. Whether that's going to, having to dig in, the likes of McDermott Park and that horrible pitch, for example, or having to come to Celtic Park, play football and actually be working hard. Anytime I've seen him, I've been really impressed with him. So yeah, be good if that was a serious transfer news.
Yeah, he's clearly got a fair bit of technical talent. The thing that always strikes me when you hear like Motherwell players speaking about him as they talk about is his understanding of the game tactically, and he knows where to be and what to do, and his awareness of the game kind of belies his years a little bit. So I definitely think it's one I'd like to look at. I'm just wondering what the gap is in the summer in the midfield, whether it's clearly McGregor's going to be with us next season, Engels is going to be with us, Bernardo, McCowan's going to be there. So it's really Reo Hatate you're looking at as potentially the one who could move on, but I don't know. Maybe Hatate could stay as well. But if Hatate was to go and you bring in someone like Lennon Miller, he's got that creativity that could make a good replacement. I'd need to see more of him, but from the bits I've seen, maybe similar to Engels in the way he plays, so could be another good option for us to have. So I definitely think it's one I'd like to see Celtic do, but it's one to keep an eye on in the summer. That's us, Stevie. You've, I think, been recording Gig Pod as well, so people can check that out. What's being discussed on there, I wonder?
A lot of reviewing the games against St Mirren and Aberdeen, looking to the Hibs one, and also thought about the fact that Derby allocations are back. But I think the biggest one was the rant I went on in the first 5 minutes about sitting down at bars and pubs and service areas. I really had a bee in my bonnet about that one. So if you really want to listen to an old guy shouting at the clouds about people's behaviours in pubs, then tune into that and have a right good laugh at me just clearly being unable to deal with the modern world more and more.
What's your issue? You like to queue at the bar?
I think the bar should be free, but you shouldn't have anybody being allowed to sit at a bar when the pub is busy. I think it's selfish.
Oh, right.
I think it's so selfish. But I'm not going to, again, look, I could spend the next 10 minutes ranting about it. Let people listen to that and make up their own minds and see if I'm unreasonable or not. So that's all I'll do is leave it there. It's not on, in my opinion.
Okay, well that's GigPod. Everyone, if you want to check that out, you'll get that, and probably a wee bit of Celtic chat in there as well. Great podcast, definitely check it out. We're available as a podcast as well if you want to go out and listen to the show rather than just watching us. I don't take it personally. We can do that for you.
I take it really personally.
Well, that's fine then. That's fine. We're on every podcast provider you can think of, so just search Celtic AM or click one of the links in the description. I will return tomorrow.